Greetings, He fans and She Ravers, back with another Masters of the Universe Origins review. And this one is thanks to Mattel. Thank you very much, folks at Mattel, for sending these along. And we're taking a look at Origins Battle Cat today. And this box, more than any of the other packaging, really hits me right in the feels. I've wanted a commemorative reissue Battle Cat for quite some time now. There was a commemorative Battle Cat that came out with He-Man some years back, but I've wanted just a boxed Battle Cat with the classic style artwork, which is what he's rocking up here. So these Origins figures are showing up at Walmart now across the States. Not sure if they've shown up in Canada yet, but if you haven't been able to find them in stores, fret not, because you can still scratch that Masters of the Universe itch by going over to Big Bad Toy Store, and they have tons of Super 7 vintage style Masters of the Universe items there, as well as classics, Club Grayskull, Filmation style, tons of stuff at Big Bad Toy Store. So as I mentioned in my Origins He-Man review, the box did get a little bit crunched, so there is a little bit of bending right here, unfortunately, but we're still able to see the artwork on here. He-Man perched atop his steed, pouncing on Skeletor. Castle Grayskull in the back. Looks like Teela is up in the tower. And some artwork of the other figures available, as well as the Sky Sled. And there's Battle Cat himself. And then some play features, removable armor, and twist into powerful battle positions. So this is a big one for Battle Cat in terms of an upgrade over the original Battle Cat. This one actually has articulation, whereas the original one didn't. So it's much more similar to the Classics version, which I will compare him to. But before we get to opening the box, I just wanted to show off this beautiful box art. Wow, that really harkens back to that eerie, ominous, original Masters of the Universe artwork painted by a true artist. Absolutely beautiful, right down to the helmet being knocked off of Battle Cat and those ferocious yellow eyes staring a hole right through you. That is fantastic. All right, we're going to open this box up, and before we get to the review, I actually want to see if the original Battle Cat fits in here and how he looks. So here we go. So Cat is held in place with thicker bands, looks like, than He-Man and Skeletor were held in place. And here is an original Battle Cat, sort of. It's a commemorative version, but it's identical to the original version. And let's pull this one out first. Really love the blue background on the back of the box here. Kind of reminds me of Brave Star packaging. The way Brave Star had the nice, vivid, bright blue and bright red going on in there. Still attached by a band in here. Pull that off. Yank him off, and we'll be looking at him in a second. He's got another band here. He's got bands everywhere. So let's just put him aside for now. And this is, I don't know, maybe I'm a little peculiar, but it looks like a cool looking toy, but what I want to know is if I can fit my old Battle Cat in there. Oh yeah, you can. It feels like it won't for a second, but you can stick his foot back in there and it actually holds him quite nicely in place. So I know there's lots of vintage fans out there who are interested in this too, because when you're buying a toy, especially a vintage toy or a toy heavily influenced by a vintage toy, we're not just buying the toy, we're buying the packaging. So let's correct him a little bit. So anyone out there who has a vintage Battle Cat and you can't hunt down some reproduction packaging, or you can't afford to get the original box, because those can go for quite a lot too, here's how this looks. It is a vintage Battle Cat in a Origins Battle Cat box, and it's not bad for like a 10-second custom job. You can try to pull the plastic things off of there on the inside and try to fit him in there a little bit better, but I like how that looks. So yeah, if you're a boxed collector, if you like how things look more in a box because of the logo and the artwork and all of the presentation with it, that's not too shabby. But on to the main event. It's Battle Cat himself, and he is definitely that midway point between the vintage and the classics again, just like He-Man was. He's got way more articulation than the original Battle Cat had. The original had zero, nothing. It's just an old Big Jim Tiger. He does not have, the first impressions is, he does not have the detailing or the articulation of the classics version. First thing I noticed when I was trying to correct the feet here, so that they'll all sit flat on the table, having some issues getting this one. It's because of the knee. These knees, sometimes they don't look bent, but they are bent. He doesn't have the foot articulation that the classics version has to make it a little bit easier to get those feet to lay flat. So I think what you're going to find with this guy is if you're trying to have like this down pose that Cat would have in the show when he was transforming, those feet are going to stick straight up. Oh, look at these little paws. That is adorable. Nice detailing on there. The detailing is really nice. It's again, it's just a little scaled back from the classics version. He's got, I guess I'll do some articulation here. Some tail movement, articulation. Goes all the way around, goes up and down a little bit. Nice hook on it too. The legs just go up and down, so there's no in and out type of ball joint. Although the knees, that's what you call them, do feel like they're on, well, they swivel and they go up and down. And that's it for each leg. Each leg only has 2 points of articulation, at the hip and at the knee, same at the front. So they bend back for the back legs, and they bend forward on the front legs, just like a cat. No waist twist. And the head, maybe if we pop the helmet off, we can get a better look at the joints and what's going on in there. Looks like there's 2 joints for the neck, so we can look up and down, which is great. And then side to side. Looks like he's looking side to side here. I want to try to twist this head to turn it, but it doesn't quite want to go. And you can probably pop these off. You can pop the arms off and the heads off of He-Man and Skeletor. But again, I don't really want to force this and break it. And he has one more point of articulation, the jaw, which is a really cool one to have so that he can just be at the ready or he can be roaring. And the eyes are painted green. It almost feels like maybe they should be yellow, especially since on the box he's unmasked and they're yellow on the mask. And since I can't paint eyes worth a lick, I'm not Eric Lutz, who is probably very good at it. I wouldn't even dare try to repaint these myself. So, I mean, he's going to wear the helmet all the time anyway, but just if he had those yellow eyes, it would have been cool to be able to recreate that artwork. The helmet looks almost identical to the original version. The biggest difference is the paint applications on the eyes. And I kind of wonder if it would have looked better if the eyes were holes, eye holes on the mask, which lets you peek through and see the yellow eyes beneath, although they might be too dark, cast in shadow for them to really show up. But that would have been kind of neat. So it's a cool looking figure. If you're looking for lots of articulation, play features, that's not what this is about. That's not what Battle Cat was ever about. Battle Cat is He-Man's steed, his buddy. So that's the main purpose of this figure. And let's fit He-Man on top of here. And he fits exactly as the original fit on the original Battle Cat. There's no real difference there. I know the original Battle Cat very, very well. And so it's cool to see all of the little details recreated once again, even this thing on the back here. The new He-Man figure can sort of twist and hold on to that thing in front of him, which is cool. Much more posability than the original He-Man and Battle Cat had. Cool that he can sort of steady himself. Yeah, that looks really cool. I like how that looks. These two go wonderfully together. So if the Origins He-Man figure isn't really doing it for you, this might be the tipping point right here, because this figure on top of this cat just looks fantastic. I really like the look of that. They really do feel fun. The Classics line was more about detail. It was about capturing that grit and realism of the original He-Man mini-comics. I think the Origins line is more about capturing the fun of Filmation. And it definitely feels that way with how bright Battle Cat's green is, and the red is a lot brighter. I want to do a comparison right now with the original one. And when they're side by side, you can see just what I mean. This is more of a brownish maroon color, and this is a lot brighter, like what he would have looked like on the Filmation show. So just that being brighter makes him seem a lot more fun. The greens are very similar, although he has a lot more fur shading. The Origins version, more fur shading, so just texture. He has more texture than the original one had. And the harnesses are very, very similar. Once again, it almost looks like they built off of the original one, but the new cat seems bigger, although you never know with these knee joints. I thought that the He-Man figure was about the same size, but he ended up being a little bit bigger because I had the knees bent. So if you do bend these legs a little bit, it shortens them down, but it definitely feels to me like the Origins Battle Cat is bigger. Quite a bit bigger than his original version, than the He-Man and Skeletor version were of their original versions. A really easy way to find that out is to just pop the helmets off and compare them side by side. And yeah, there's a pretty big size difference going on there. Definitely the Origins Battle Cat is bigger. So they've increased Cat a little bit, and they should have, because on the show Cat was huge. So I think that's perfectly fine upgrade to do. That the helmet does not attach to the rest of the harness. I just wanted to mention, because the original one did. It has this little tab in here that plugs in and secures. The belt on the original one is sort of recreated, although on the original it goes up to the side, and He-Man's foot always gets caught in here. This is a better design, having it attach underneath, and there's a little peg there that just pops into the hole to secure it, so your He-Man won't be getting caught on there. So that's the Origins Battle Cat with the original version. And here's the Classics version. We will remove the most powerful man in the universe for a second. They're pretty close in size. Wasn't expecting them to be this close in size, but line them up like so. And yeah, they're just about the same. So if you're curious about the size here, I'd say the Origins Battle Cat is closer in size to the Classics version than he is this original version. Kind of smallish, and again, a lot more realistic look on the Classics version. Way more detailing in the fur, way more texture, sharper paint applications on the stripes. They're kind of blurred and blended in. On the new one, the green is darker, not as much saturation, more of that maroon paint job on the Classics version. Plus the Classics version has these extra paint applications, kind of this metallic brown type of look. And this is just bare because they're going for that original look to it. And then just the eyeballs, the pupils aren't painted on this one, but very similar. The mouths are similar, able to roar. And yeah, so like adult art collector, Battle Cat version, Classics version, kid version. So definitely adults can collect this one and enjoy it too. Absolutely. But the more I look at these Origins toys, the more I think these are definitely toys that the kids are going to absolutely love. And I think parents who grew up on Masters of the Universe are going to get a real thrill of watching their kids repeat history and play around with these too. So just one more little size comparison here to give you an idea of just how big this cat is. This He-Man doesn't actually really fit in here. Yeah, you gotta really wedge him in there because of his fuzzy britches. He's not really gonna fit, but I just wanted to show that with this He-Man Classics version on this Battle Cat, the size is pretty similar. And if you have an original He-Man and you're wondering what he's gonna look like on this new one, wow. It's weird to see this vintage He-Man on a bigger Battle Cat. I'm so used to this vintage one being on the Battle Cat that is the size that he is, the original one. But this Origins one definitely looks bigger than the original one when you put the vintage He-Man on him. It looks cool. If you're really familiar with how the original two look, then that's going to look a little strange. Like, hey, Battle Cat's too big. Why is he so big? But if you have a vintage He-Man, and again, you can't track down a vintage one, Battle Cat, and you just want any Battle Cat for your He-Man, this one's going to work better than the Classics version, I think. Really like how his head can go left and right. Wow. I feel like that's better than the Classics version, actually. I want to compare this left and right. Not as much. Yeah, the Classics version does not have as much left and right articulation, range, I should say, as the Origins version does. So that's a surprise. I don't know how many different poses you can get with this cat. If you want to do kind of a hi-ho silver type of pose, the tail can stabilize him. So yeah, you can play around a little bit. He doesn't have to just be standing on all fours. Hi-ho Battle Cat, away. That looks fantastic. So the joints aren't super tight, but they got a bit of tightness in them, enough to hold him in a pose like that. As far as standing on three legs, I'm not sure if he can. He really wants to tip over on whichever leg it is that you're picking up. So he's not going to be able to paw at his enemies, unfortunately, unless you really shove this one leg down like so, kind of going across. That's okay, but he's mainly meant to be on all fours. And yeah, the thing that I miss the most from the Classics version to this one is just that paw articulation, so that you can flatten. And I'll bring this one in again just to show you what I'm talking about. Paw articulation, so you can have one all the way up and bent, one quite far back and bent. It's just nice to be able to have all feet down and on the prowl, looking ferocious. While this guy, He's got a little bit of that, feet sticking straight up in the air. They're not flat, so that'll hinder the way you have him posed. But that is Origin's Battle Cat, and I think he goes perfectly with this Origins He-Man. Really good steed for the most powerful man in the universe 2020 edition. This video is brought to you by Patreon Power. If you'd like to join the ranks of the Patreon tribe, visit patreon.com/MichaelMercy. Hope you enjoyed this review. Feel free to share it around the internet, leave a thought in the comment spot, and to join the tribe, pounce on subscribe. Nerd mistake.